Submitted my cards to PSA. I thought they were 10, they came back damaged as PSA 6s. Now I know for sure PSA is a scam. What's up, YouTube? It's Poke Purist here. I'm here to talk about how the PSA 10 hype market is literally, basically, in my opinion, a scam. PSA 10, you're supposed to be paying for rarity, exclusivity, something that's almost impossible to get. The Charizard 151 illustration rare is $1,000 and a 10. And you could say it was some sort of smart investment collection move because it was like $600 a year ago. But the PSA 10 population for that card is 25,000. And that is a set where they are still putting 10s out. That is a set where people have hoarded boxes. That's a card where like there probably is 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, who knows? There's tens of thousands of more PSA 10s out there in the world. And the PSA 10 price is $1,000, while the PSA 9 price is $250. And I would argue, as somebody who has owned a few PSA 9s and a couple PSA 10s, every time I look at a PSA 10, I can see like there is some sort of off-center part. There is kind of like whiting there. I can't believe I paid this crazy premium. And then when I look at the 9, I think, wow, this was so cheap. This is like garbage to somebody. And it's a perfectly minty, beautiful looking card, and it's well protected in the slab. So I think that if you are a collector, you actually should just buy 9s, actually. And one of my favorite Pokemon YouTubers, Pokemon Steven, was talking about this. He was talking about how it's better to have a larger collection than just have like 1 or 2 cards, in his opinion, which I kind of agree with. You don't want to have like an insane amount of bulk junk that you don't even want. But if you could have 25 PSA 9s that you love, or only 2 PSA 10s that you love, I mean, I would probably rather have 25 PSA 9s. And I'm not saying there's no room for the PSA 10. I mean, there's a Charizard from like a XY Evolutions promo box. It's Charizard and Magmar. That card's like a couple grand in a 10, but it's like impossible to grade in a 10, right? And when you look at like first edition Charizard, I think there's like 100, 200. There's a reason why it's so expensive in a 10, and it's because it's actually rare. It's actually rare. That's all I'm trying to say. And also, if you look at rare cards in PSA 9, they also do appreciate over time, where like you can't really go wrong buying the PSA 9 if the value is the same as the raw card, because nowadays when you factor in shipping and insurance, it costs like $37 or $38 to grade a card. When you put it all together, buying the box and doing all this stuff, the time, it's insanely expensive. So for genuine collectors who just want to collect cards, and this is something when I first got into collecting, I thought like, for my ego, I need a PSA 10, baby. But it's like totally silly. Just get a PSA 9. It's perfectly fine. The only reason you need a 10 is literally because your ego. Just look at all the inconsistencies in PSA 10 grading. Look at the recent PSA grading scam where they graded it, they sold the guy PSA 9s and then they re-slabbed the certs as PSA 10s. And there's videos online of people with dented cards that get a 10. There's videos online where a guy with sports cards, he knew he had a cut card and it had a serial number like 7199, so he sold it, and then that 7199 or whatever ended up being a PSA 10 where they weren't even able to detect it. And they'll play all these like nonsense games where I see people like get their cards sent back for random stuff, cut, damage, whatever. It just depends on the grader. Like, it's total crapshoot, just another layer of gambling. I think that the PSA 10 upcharge, in my opinion, should be exclusively for cards that really are legitimately rare and impossible to grade. But nowadays, people are so good at taking care of the cards. It's funny, like a PSA 9 today is better than a PSA 9 10 years ago, but a PSA 9 10 years ago had value. And a PSA 9 today, even though it's perfect and should have gotten a 10, is just treated like garbage. Just hilarious. If you just want good quality cards, like you could scoop up 9s, no problem. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Is it to be like a elite collector, do you have to only own 10s, or is it like kind of BS. Like, if I could get 4 151 Zards that are graded PSA 9 for the price of 110, I think I would rather have the 4, right? And I think it's probably the better investment if we're going investor bro mode. But I think investors in Pokemon are gonna get cooked. I think that this 30th anniversary set with all like the OG vintage 151 cards reprinted is gonna cook. It's gonna cook 151. But those are just my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Poke Purist is out. Peace.